on this episode of Who Gave Jeff Allen a Podcast with me, Carolyn Xavier. I know they haven't canned me yet. I'm equally as shocked. Don't laugh at that. That's my 2 weeks notice, that laughter, or just bought me an extra 2 weeks. Who knows? But today, we had Aaron Weber, who you've seen him on the NateLand podcast. He is a special out. He's the youngest comic to ever grace the stage at the Opry. This was so much fun. We had such a great time. And Jeff's going to tell you where you can find Jeff.
I will be in Kentucky starting in July. That's right. Got a couple weeks off. Going to spend it with the kids, the grandkids. And so Kentucky, Maryland, Pennsylvania. You can go to my website, jeffallencomedy.com, and all of the information is there. We will see you out on the road, man. Got a whole new bunch of stuff I'm working on. So got a new dry bar special I'm taping in August. So that material will be worked out so you get a chance to see how the sausage is made. So it's kind of cool. Presume.
Hey, is it weird to sit there and look at yourself? I've been wondering if I should switch the...
I like it.
Merlin, stop touching your nipples, sir.
Do you do this? It's so funny. I had a guy reach out on email, and it wasn't to me. It was to the website.
Yeah.
And it was Jeff Allen's using again. Don't tell me he's not. I know cocaine addicts, and he is using again, blah, blah, blah. And
based on what?
Based on touching my nose. So anyway, I watched a video. I must have did this 20 times.
But Dusty does it, and no one's ever like,
So now I
Dusty's
do
little
this.
smack.
So now I do this. I got to do something with my hand.
Yeah,
I see why people, like Cosby had an unlit cigar.
Uh-huh.
I see why. It's just something.
Or like Ron with the whiskey. Ron White.
Oh, Ron
Yeah,
White.
sure.
Well, I use the water on stage. And it's funny, when I don't have a bottle of water, like if I'm doing an 8-minute set, like at Zany's, I'll finish a line and I'll reach out because I'm such a habitual of grabbing water.
It's not there.
It's not there. Yeah. Very funny. All right.
We're good to go.
Start the clock.
Sweet.
Oh, yes.
We do record the intro after you leave, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
And we just start. We
just jump into it.
We just jump right into
Yeah.
it.
Perfect.
Ready?
Ready?
Yep.
Ready. We're all ready.
Aaron Weber.
Go.
Finally got you here, man.
Excited to be here. I'm glad this worked out. Thank you guys for having me.
You
Appreciate it.
might want to hold that till the end of this thing.
Okay.
We'll ask you when you're leaving to reassess this hour or whatever. So, well, let's get a little history on you, man. You live here in Nashville, but you weren't born here.
Born in Montgomery, Alabama. I moved here in high school. So I've now been here longer than I wasn't. So I feel more comfortable saying I'm from here now.
Well, it's funny you say that because I grew up in Chicago and I left at 25 to go to LA, and I've been here 27 years.
Okay.
So it's funny you say that.
So now you're from here.
I say I am.
You're Tennessee native now.
And I want these Yankees to go home.
Are you excited about the Pope being from Chicago? How's that?
Is that? I did not know that.
You didn't know the new Pope was from Chicago?
I thought he was from Detroit.
He's from Chicago, grew up in Chicago. He spent most of his life as a priest in overseas in Peru.
Okay.
So we got a bunch of different people taking credit for him. But he grew up in Chicago, was a White Sox fan. I mean, it's crazy.
South Side.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up.
First American Pope. So anyway, Chicago's pretty proud of it.
He's the first American Pope?
First American Pope. Only the second one that's from the Western Hemisphere. Francis was the other one. So it's pretty crazy.
Wow.
First American. It's crazy to see the Pope speaking English fluently. I've just never seen that in my life.
There's this really sad video you can watch where the smoke changed and everyone's so excited and they come out to announce, and there's all these like Italians out there and they're so ready, and then they're like, the American one, and they're like, whoa.
Oh yeah. But they got excited again pretty soon. No matter who it is.
Are you familiar with the process of what it takes to become a pope?
Fairly familiar.
Do you put your name in? Like, is it like a president of the United States that I'm deciding I'm going to run for pope?
You don't run in the traditional sense, but you do have to accept it at some point. Technically, any Catholic man can be pope. You don't even have to be a priest.
You could have been a pope.
I'm eligible to be pope.
Man.
I don't think I have a good chance the next time around, but
You don't even have to be a priest? Is that what you just said?
you don't even have to be a priest. You just have to be a baptized
okay.
Catholic man.
Because I'm Eastern Orthodox, and ours is a little different because we don't do the Pope.
Right.
That was our big riff
Oh,
The
All right, there was, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And but we have bishops.
Okay.
And to be a bishop, you have to be a monk because our priests are allowed to get married, kind of like the Eastern rite of Catholic.
Okay.
The priest can get married. And so they're like, oh, this is so much work, and all of your focus has to be with the congregation that you can't maintain a family. And so to get to bishop, metropolitan, all that, you have to be a monk, which is wild.
Interesting. I think that if they were to pick just a random man, he would have to get ordained, and then they'd kind of expedite him through the process.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's happened. The last time it wasn't a cardinal was like 700 years ago. So it's pretty much, it's going to be a cardinal at this point.
On my way in, I almost got a ticket listening to you on a Catholic podcast, and you were making me laugh so hard.
Oh, okay.
I was laughing so hard, and I went to change lanes, and I cut off a Metro PD.
Oh,
and then he followed me for like 5 miles, and I was like, okay, the ticket's going to hurt. The insurance is going to hurt, but then I can blame Aaron on the podcast.
I'll accept the blame.
Well, it'd be great if you could have got the recording, then you play it for the cop.
Oh, right? Like, this is what got me.
This is what I was listening to.
This is what got me.
Right.
This is totally... Okay, so what got me was you were on this really funny Catholic podcast, and you were telling this story when your daughter was in the NICU and a comic friend reached out to you and was like, what can I do to help? And you were like, just send us your prayers.
Well, yeah, well, our baby was in the NICU for about a month, and you can imagine you just get inundated with people, let me know if I can do anything for you. And there's nothing anybody can do. So I just started saying, I'll take your prayers, whatever. And then I had a friend tell me, I don't believe in prayer, but I'm sending you good vibes. And I was like, yeah, that's definitely more real. Appreciate the vibes, I just thought that was so funny. And I noticed that now, if you see like a post on Facebook or something, there'll be all these comments, and people just don't want to say, I'm praying for you. But there's nothing else. If you're not offering that, then you're not offering anything. So people are, I'm sending you positive energy. And you're like, well, what does that even mean?
Right.
Sending you cooling positive vibes. And you're like, well, no, you're not.
When I got to the 12-step program, and they said, find a higher power. And about 8 years into that, I said, what is that? And they said, well, it's kind of whatever you want. Well, if I'm making up a deity, that makes me delusional.
Sure.
So, I mean, I get it. It either exists or it doesn't. But you're right. I mean, I went through that whole New Age thing where, you send up and, and as a matter of fact, I had a woman in Seattle run me off the stage. She just told me to get out, leave. You're done. You're finished. I offended her with my wife's menopause.
Okay.
And then she sends me an email that says, I did what I did on my own. The company had nothing to do with it. Just basically covering her. Her bases.
She was with a group or something?
Yeah. So anyway, I figured she's probably a new agey. She lives in Seattle. So anyway, I bought a goat in her name from World Vision. So I wrote her back. I said, I just took a negative out of the world and put a positive into it.
That's great.
I got this glowing email. Oh, thank you. I love World Vision. And I'm thinking, shut up. But
that's a great way to respond to it.
Good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes.
Well, I said somewhere in Nicaragua, there's a village getting milk because of our little spat.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a good way to look at it.
So you are 100% the son that my dad wished he had instead of me because you went Catholic, right?
Okay.
Went to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
My grandfather went to Notre Dame.
Yeah,
so
you told me that.
We're like big Notre Dame people. And what did you go to Notre Dame for? Question one. Question two, Catholic, Irish Catholic, or?
There might be some Irish in there. That was, for whatever reason, that was never talked about in my family.
Well, how does
like
Montgomery,
Montgomery,
Alabama get to, well, actually, from here, then you went to Notre Dame.
Yeah, so I ended high school here, so I went from here. But my dad went to Notre Dame, and he got his master's in theology there, and he was going to go get his PhD. And then somebody gave him the advice to take a year in between your master's and your PhD and go teach high school somewhere, just to so he's not just spending 10 years in college back to back. So he picked a high school in Montgomery, Alabama that was closest to where his parents lived. They lived in Mobile at the time. So he went down there with the intention to only teach 1 year. My mom was a math teacher at the high school, and they met. They got engaged within 2 months.
Women.
And then my dad stuck around for almost 30 years there before he moved. So that's how I ended up in Montgomery, and that's where I grew up.
Oh, okay.
And then Notre Dame became kind of a family thing. My dad went there. My aunt went there. My 2 older siblings. At one point recently, I had 5 first cousins that were there
Holy
at
cow.
the same time. So, yeah, Notre Dame's a big thing in our family still.
Oh my god.
Well,
Mhm.
growing up in Chicago, it was huge.
Right.
Huge following in Notre
Yeah,
Dame. I
yeah,
remember
close by.
Yeah, I remember the guys in my neighborhood getting all jacked up. And again,
Hmm.
I was not, I didn't go to college, so I'm not a college football fan.
Well,
And
college
coming here, I
sports-
realized it was really huge here.
Major difference between cities like Chicago and cities like here, Nashville. Is,
There's the Tennessee Vols, and then there's Jesus.
yeah, or at least they're close. You know?
And Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Yeah, Vanderbilt. I feel like I don't know if Vanderbilt was better, it'd be different. But
I'm
yeah.
Christian, that's the clip we want to
Those,
use.
There you go.
those emails go to Aaron Weber.
But in a lot of cities in the North, it's if you do care about college sports at all, it is Notre Dame because of the Catholic connection. At least like in New York, they don't care about college sports in New York City, but you'll see there are Notre Dame fans there
Yeah.
because of that.
What was it like growing up Catholic in Alabama?
I didn't think too much about it. They're definitely a minority in Montgomery. I think it's like less than 5% of the city is Catholic. So, we had our little parish, St. Bede. That was the parish I grew up going to. And then there's, it's flanked by 30 or 40 Protestant churches. And
Baptist,
yeah,
Church of
and then
Christ.
all the kids I played football with and baseball with, none of them were Catholic. So it was just, I don't know, it was just it was a big part of our childhood and growing up, but I didn't think too much about it.
Did
as
you
a
ever
kid.
get, oh, you're Catholic, bless your heart.
Some of that?
Enjoy hell.
I remember, well, yeah, I remember even as like an 8 or a 9-year-old having to like dispel untruths about the church to like my
Right.
buddies.
Yeah.
They're like, why do y'all worship Mary? And I'd have to be like, well, we don't do that. But
This is Aaron, defender of the faith.
I know you're forced to be an apologist at a young age down
Well,
there.
see, right now you just threw your name in the hat for the Pope job.
Well, yeah,
This is a defender of the traditions and the faith.
if I do become the Pope, just know that it started here on this
Okay.
podcast.
Yeah.
My son, growing up here and then being Orthodox, like he does feel a little bit out of some school stuff. Like,
Mhm.
he'll cross himself before he eats, or like he'll
Yeah.
cross himself and it's just kind of like he feels a little bit like, oh, I don't quite fit in.
Yeah. I
It-
get that.
Yeah, and
I-
it's different being in a liturgical faith in the South. They just, we don't have the same casseroles.
Sure. Yeah.
Same potlucks. It's just a little different. Yeah.
He'll get to a point. I got to a point. You kind of like those differences. I kind of like that. I'm different in those ways. I don't know. It doesn't
Makes
bother
you
me.
unique in some way.
Yeah, and then who cares at the end of the day?
It's so true.
Yeah.
How did your faith change pre-NICU, post-NICU? Was there a big movement? Are we allowed to ask?
No, you're definitely allowed to ask. I guess I hadn't thought about. I don't have a ton of space from it yet to reflect on things. My daughter's 8 months old now, so it was the first month of her life. She's just on her back in a bassinet in the NICU. So I haven't had a ton of time to reflect on that yet. It's truly like day by day. We're just trying to get through the week most times, but I think with time I'll be able to reflect on that and think more about it. But yeah, it was a pretty powerful thing. I had never, our family's been pretty lucky. We've had a couple things, but we've never had like true tragedy. And not that, our baby's fine, but it was for me, it was like our first thing that we're dealing with as a family. Yeah.
Out of your control difficulty.
But I'll tell you what, your suffering gets put in perspective pretty quickly in the NICU. Like our baby was never we were never thinking she might die at any moment. We were just thinking, how do we get her to a point where we can take her home, right? But the first day we were there, I was in the hallway and we saw a procession through the hallway of parents walking with their baby who had just died. So I was just like in the hallway, like, oh my God, I'm in this. Like this is the NICU, dude. This is the real deal. But so when you see stuff like that, it definitely makes you appreciate your own situation and keeps everything in perspective.
It puts it into perspective to whatever you were complaining about the week before, right?
It all seems very silly. Yeah, it all seems pretty crazy.
Yeah, someone told me, write out 10 things you're complaining about today and visit it in a week.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll realize that, it just moved on. You know, every time I was just at the bank and I always say, well, how's your day going? Oh, I can't complain. And I go, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. You can to me. Yeah.
Dig deep.
I'd love you to.
I said, nobody cares, but just dig deep.
Yeah.
You know.
I do that. I trauma dump on people who ask me how my day is, and they're like, "All right." So
is that what it's called? Trauma dump?
Trauma dump.
I like
that's
that.
what I do a lot.
That could be a song.
My big thing. Yeah.
That could be a country lyric.
I got coffee the other day, and some lady was like, "How was your day?" And then I just like laid it out, and then I started crying, and she was just like,
well, that's a bit much.
Right, hot or iced, or like.
Did she give you one of these hugs?
Oh, those are the best. Those are the.
I don't know what to do, but
I'm just this awkward height as a woman too, where I accidentally like elbow other women in their face when they go to hug me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I'm learning.
So when somebody says, "How's your day going?" you should go, "Do you really want to know?"
Yeah, that's what I should say.
Yeah. Do you really want to know? Because I'll tell you.
Great. If I carried like a little leather journal. Really want to know? Actually.
Let's get into it.
I think we should have a shirt with a red circle and a line. Trauma dump. No trauma dumps. No, nothing. Nobody cares.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The reason I ask is because at least in Catholic and Orthodox faiths, this idea of suffering is a purification of the heart. It's not.
Yeah.
It's like, I think in some faiths there's this, well, why did this happen? We can't explain it. And then it's just kind of left like God has this bigger plan, but it's like, no, our suffering is a purification of the heart, and it'll move you to grow in Christ and with Christ. And so I just wondered, but I understand that you're like, no, we're trying to take it day by day. Because even if you didn't have the NICU with an 8-month-old, you'd be doing it day by day.
Sure.
And so to add all that into the mix.
Right. I think, my wife and I talked a little bit, those larger kind of metaphysical questions at first, but then it just, it got to a level where like, all right, this is what we have to do, and we can do it, and we want to do it. So let's do it. We didn't think about it on a much deeper level than that.
Is there some delays, or is health catching up, weight catching up, all of those things? Are there still some struggles?
Yeah, she has some stuff that we'll deal with her whole life. So but having the answers, and that was like the big thing. It took months before we really knew what was going on. And then once we got the answers to that, we were like, okay, now we know how to attack it. So that was such a relief just to know.
Because you can make a plan and then you can move forward.
Yeah, because there was a plan of attack for us. So she'll have stuff that we'll have to figure out. And her condition, it's not going to really get difficult. I mean, it's difficult, but it's not the worst of it's not going to come for a few years. So we have some time to settle in and prepare for it all. But yeah. It's things are good. Like we feel good about the future, and we feel good about the baby, and we love her, and she's fun, and so it's great.
Yeah. Are she hitting some milestones like that? The first time they like really make eye contact and smile and all.
Yeah, everything's later. Everything's taking more time.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that when things take more time, you do appreciate them much more when they happen. So she's 8 months old now. She's just started rolling over, which my understanding is that's much later than a typical baby. But man, is it fun when she starts to do it now, because you've been waiting for 8 months for it, you know. And then she wasn't really holding her head up, and until a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
So all this stuff is coming later, but it's so much fun when it finally does.
In my 20s, I had a hard time holding my head up. You know?
That's right.
Nah,
Right.
and yeah, Tammy was very happy when I was able to hold my head up consistently. So,
Well, it's so wild how fast it goes because it's like they roll over and you're like, oh my gosh, and then they're driving. Like, and
Yeah, like
people
that.
say that, and you're like, yeah, whatever. It feels like it's taking. And
well,
then,
I forgot. I was at the airport the other day, and I forgot because it's been years, decades since I had an infant. But this baby was crawling, and the mother was trying to have a conversation with the father, and that baby was, 50 feet down. Oh my God.
Yeah.
She'd pick him up, put him back, and then basically say, "Stay." And of course, the kids. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's fun. They say the days are long and the years are short. That's what they.
yeah, that's
they
what it
say.
feels like.
A lot of the stuff that I used to think was super cliche and
It's so true.
cringy, yeah, you start to be like, oh, okay, I get why they say that now.
Do you feel like it's awakened this thing in you where you're like, oh, I gotta work, I gotta provide, I gotta be like super dad? Or are you like, dang, I wish I had a job where I was home more?
I'm actually home. I was thinking about this. I am gone a lot on the weekends, but the flip side of that is I'm pretty much there all day in a way that a lot of fathers don't get to be. Monday through Thursday, I'm there when she wakes up till she goes to bed most of the time.
Oh,
So
that's
when I was at babies, clubs were hiring you Tuesday through Sunday.
yeah,
It
it's
was
different
bad.
back then,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it really was. And now, you can go in on a Wednesday, come home on a Thursday. You don't have to
Right.
be there all week.
Yeah, I can even just be gone a Friday, Saturday sometimes too, and
Yeah.
get back. I got a couple gigs coming up where I fly out in the morning and I'll fly back that night. So it's like I'm definitely trying to maximize my time at home. If anything, just to relieve my wife and
Yeah, it's funny. I walked out on
Yeah.
Monday night. She was out. I go, "Where's Erin?" Home. She was standing out the club.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that was great.
Yeah, I left the podcast that I do with Nate and drove home, and then she immediately got in the car and drove back to the club. So
Yeah.
we're finding ways to balance everything.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
It really is. I used to say to people, you're entitled to a life apart from your family,
Mhm.
whether it's, golf, whatever. Mine was golf.
Yeah.
And then she's entitled to a life apart from the family as
Right.
well. And then the struggle is balancing everything because time is the only finite thing you have in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's 24-hour days, and that's it. And that's what I had a young father ask me recently, and I said, I'm not the guy to ask because I did such a horrible job. But in hindsight, I at least have enough wisdom to know that time is the only issue. What you can spend with your family. My children understood I had to travel to make a living. But when I was home, I didn't spend as much time with them as I should have.
Mhm.
And that's my regret. That's my, because that's what they notice. He was home, and yet he chose to
Yeah.
to go to the golf course and do
Sure.
other things. So
Sure.
that's if you learn that young, you're ahead of the game, and
Mhm.
that's huge.
Yeah. It's good advice.
But also, you're
Yeah.
in your early 30s, right?
33.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
best time to have kids. I had them so young.
Young. How old were you?
19.
19. Yeah.
I got married at 18,
my
had him at
God.
19.
Yeah.
But you know what's great now? I'm 35 and my son's going to turn 16.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just at that age where I'm like, I'm old, you drive.
Yeah, that's great.
It's pretty great. That I
Yeah.
really do love. I really do love
Yeah,
that.
Tammy's sister had a child at 14.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
when
That's
she
kid
was
raising
35,
kids.
he was 21.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy to think
Wild.
about.
Yeah.
He was her DD.
Yeah.
They take a millennial to think of that. We didn't have DDs. We just winged it.
Dusty Slay has a joke. He said back in the day, a DD was just one guy who was willing to risk it. That's what it is.
Who can hold
Dusty-
one eye open.
Yes.
Because of Dusty, my son, every time we drive past the skunk for 4 years, he goes, "Where'd that skunk get
Where'd
that
that
weed?"
skunk get that weed at? Yeah. It's amazing jokes that just stick with you. I'm sure you've heard like jokes from that you just hear maybe even in passing from like decades ago that just for whatever reason
Yeah.
they just cling onto your brain.
You know,
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I had mentioned something. Somebody brought up a situation, and I wish I can give the example, but I'm old and my brain is shot. But I remember going, oh, a friend of mine did a. We were just talking about it. That's it. We were just talking about it downstairs about sketch comedy today and how it's changed.
Yeah.
From certainly the 70s with all the political correctness and stuff. And he was talking about a particular sketch they were going to do, and there was a big argument at the table. You can't do that. It's racist. It's with this and that. And there was a comic named Barry Sobel back in the day who did a 3 to 5 minute rant about every stereotype you can think of. He brought everybody in. He goes, yeah, there are no bad Asian drivers. There are no, I mean, and he went the whole litany of every stereotype you can think of, and it would just kill.
Right.
And you sit there and go, can't do that today. I just watched Blazing Saddles again. I go,
yeah, it's pretty
couldn't
different.
make that
It's pretty different now. Yeah.
Blazing Saddles, or even Hear No Evil, Speak No Evil. Is that what it's called, with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor?
Where Richard Pryor's blind, right? Or Richard Pryor's blind, G. Wilder's deaf. Is that it? Yeah. It's a great movie.
That's such a good movie. I tried to watch it with my son, but I forgot there was like topless ladies in it.
Yeah, there's
And
a lot
so
of that.
I had to do a quick, oh my gosh, and totally panicked. But you were talking about Lucy being the booker at Zanies. How hard is it to balance that? I always wondered this. So when I was in stand-up, I had a rule that I wouldn't befriend anyone that could help my career, because I would feel like the friendship wouldn't start on a good foot. So like Stephen Bargatze and I had that conversation where it was like, if I wasn't getting out of stand-up, I wouldn't hang out with you and Carol all the time, because in some weird way, it's like you have almost like fraternization in the military.
Okay. Yeah.
So do you find that you're more guarded because of that position? Or does it affect your day-to-day? I always wonder.
No, I mean, we thought about it a little bit at first when we started dating, because I didn't want it to reflect badly on her. Like if I were to start getting booked, that it would, people would think that she was compromised.
Well, it really helps that you're damn good at what you do.
Well, thank you. Well, that's what I wanted to. I
don't think there's a comic that would look at that and go, well, he wouldn't be getting on stage if it wasn't for.
Well, thank you. I hope that's what I was like. Well, I need to get to a point where, say whatever you want about me. I feel like I've earned a 5-minute spot at the club or whatever, but I never wanted it to reflect badly on her. So when we started dating, I don't think I got booked at Zanies for 8 or 9 months. And then I did something, and Lucy's boss was like, you should book him more. So then I started, hopefully now, nobody's thinking that I'm just there because of her. And now she's not even booking the day-to-day stuff anymore. So, I definitely thought about it at first, but at a certain point, I'm like, I don't care,
Yeah, the first time I saw you, you were recording your Circle television.
Oh, okay.
Thing.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like this guy has whatever that thing is, as like a diehard comedy fan.
Oh, thank you.
Like, oh, he has that, whatever it is. And then when I got into Nashville comedy scene, it was clear that you see people that kind of go around and like, kiss the Pope's ring. It's like, I'll bring this to the king.
Right.
And just kind of that whole thing. So I just wondered if you ever struggled with any of that.
No, it's interesting. Sometimes I'll be on the road and people don't know I'm married to Lucy, and they'll be like, man, I'm trying to get work at Zany. I keep emailing this girl, Lucy. I'm like, yeah, she's a little squirrely. Don't worry about it. And I don't even tell them that's the mother of my daughter. But,
all this last week, I got to look at your face because you're going to be at the Comedy Catch, and I do their socials.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah, and I was doing your posters and stuff, and we were just talking about like jokes that last forever. And they're also having Frank Caliendo.
Oh, okay.
And so there are those comics that are like those bits you'll never forget, like we were mentioning. So we're about the same age. Did you do Comic View? What was your first, oh my gosh, I love this. I've watched this 8,000 times.
Brian Regan had a Comedy Central special. that I had memorized word for word. I would perform it for
That wasn't
for
one
people.
with a cup of dirt or.
That was Brian Regan live. I think
Right.
that's first album. That's
Right.
so great. But he had a Comedy Central special. It might have even been a half hour. He had a bit about Fig Newtons and
Yeah.
read.
This is a serving size.
Yeah, exactly. Serving size. But I mean,
Yeah.
peanut butter and jelly in the same jar. It was all like
Yeah.
silly stuff like that. I had that memorized. I loved it. Kevin James had a special called Sweat the Small Stuff, which I still think is one of the best specials ever. So funny. And he's just like mad the whole time. It's like really funny anger that you don't see in a lot of comics. And I had that special memorized. Those were the two. And then it probably wasn't until college that I really dove in past like, the really mainstream.
Do you remember the first? Because I don't know how I was so bad for so long. I remember the first routine I ever created that just connected, and I was in the middle of it because it was a rant. It was a true rant about a car I had, and I remember in the middle of it, oh my God, it was almost like you're on a balance beam and you realize you're on a balance beam and you fall off.
Right,
I fell off. I mean, they're laughing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I went months. I watched Larry Reed writing in a notebook one night, and I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm preparing my set," and I go, "You write this stuff down?" He goes, "You don't?" I go, "No." He goes, "That explains a lot." I just thought you went up and talked about your day.
Right.
Because everybody in Chicago just had that style where it was just casual and observational stuff.
Yeah.
So I would talk about what I observed that day, and it was just, I mean, it was a mess.
But you still remember that the first time it felt like it.
Well, I remember the bit. It was the Volkswagen.
Yeah.
I had a beat up old bug. I had to park on a hill because I had to run it down the hill and pop the clutch and go. So I always parked on a big clutch. And I was late for a show, and I ran in, and I was there. You're up now, and I ran on the stage and just started spewing about this piece of garbage car.
Yeah.
And it was just natural, and I learned. I said, okay, comedy's angst and comedy's truth.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, but that was the first, and I did it. Oh boy, for 30 years I did that thing. It was so relatable. But
right.
And that's what I love about your set. I mean, the first time I saw you really work a set was at Chattanooga.
That's right.
You opened for me, and I'm watching it. And if I see a guy within 45 minutes and you see 2 or 3 things where you go, God, why didn't I think of that?
Oh.
I saw you and I'm thinking like 5 different things.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
Oh my God, why didn't I think of that?
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Appreciate it.
My favorite thing about you and the whole NateLand crew is that you guys all have, I call it the Nashville Nate arm. You guys all hold your arm.
Well, here's the thing. There's only so many ways to stand on stage.
Well, that's the
You know what I
we were
mean?
talking about
Yeah.
that,
It's like, well, Dusty already took waving out, so I can't do that. And then Nate's put his arms behind his back. I can't do that. I'm like, I don't know what to do with my hands up there.
Well, don't do this because
That's true. Yeah, don't do that.
You're using.
But I try to not do all that stuff because now I like overthink it, the physicality of it, because people will point it out if you do stuff.
Isn't that the most? I don't know if you've ever experienced it. It is the most awkward thing in the world when you become aware of your body in the middle of a live performance.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I get out of my head. I get out of everything, and it's just awkward. I can't.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can work it out. But yeah, that is the strangest thing, to become aware of how you're walking, how you're, what your hands are doing. And I used to finish in a pocket, and I'd have people yell out, "What's in the pocket?" I mean, I have nervous tics. That's when I wrote the guy back with this thing. I said, "Look, I have a lot of nervous tics, man."
When I first started, I met Ralphie May at Zany's, and he told me to record myself and then watch myself on fast forward. You start to see all the tics and all the unnecessary physical movements that you make. And I gotta tell you, that's brutal to watch yourself on fast forward. I mean, I was early on, it was like I was just doing the same. I take a step back. It had nothing to do with what I was talking about, and then you watch. I actually just zoomed in on like my water bottle and just watched my whole set on fast forward. And I would just pick it up, not drink it, put it back down,
I still do that.
pick it up, not drink. Like, I don't know what I'm doing up there.
I still do that. I'll pick it up and I go, "Oh, I got a thought," and I put it back down. But,
Exactly.
yeah.
Oh, I got a Ralphie story. I don't want to bring the room down, but 3 weeks ago.
Why? What happened to him? Sorry. Yeah.
Something happened.
Yeah, where's he been, by the way?
3 weeks ago, my dad comes up to me and he's like, I just discovered this Nashville comic. You got to get me in to see this guy. You got to use your connections. And then he's like, look at this thing on YouTube.
Old
And
Ralphie clip.
Yeah, and I just started crying.
Mhm.
And then, but me and my dad had this beautiful moment where I took him through the best of Ralphie, and like, so now every time he calls me, he's like, I want to go Northland.
yeah, Northland. Yeah, a great bit. What you got to do is send your dad a list of comics who are about to die.
Well, that's what I said. I was just going to say. Yeah. So when he asks, is he living?
Yeah, we got to go see these guys.
Yeah.
I got to see. Speaking of that, I got to see James. Do you ever work with James Gregory?
Oh my God, I worked with Gregory in the '80s.
Oh yeah.
I remember telling somebody I just witnessed one of the best comics I've ever seen.
Wow.
He had a hook back then. You know what this means? Sometime in the past, some nut. So he would say, "Did you ever see the sign? Don't when the plane's in operation, don't open the door." He said, "You know what that means?
Yeah.
Sometime in the past, some nut said to his wife, I think I'll go for a walk on the wing." And so
Right.
by the third time, he'd go, "You know what that means?" And the crowd would just start laughing.
Yeah,
It was just this tight, not a word out of place.
Yeah.
I remember leaving. I opened for him, and I remember leaving that week thinking I got a lot of work to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. He. It's tough to imagine a young James Gregory, like young and spry. Though
Yeah.
I don't know if he was ever.
Well, spry would never be
But I got to see him one of the last sets he ever did. I got to see him. I hosted a show at the Ryman, and I got to bring James Gregory out, and it was kind of a special. I think, kind of morbidly, I guess everyone kind of recognized this might be one of the last times we get to see him.
Right.
So people were getting emotional watching him, and he just, as soon as he grabbed the mic, it was like he snapped back into who he was and got a standing ovation, and it was pretty cool.
I heard a story about George Burns at the end of his life. He would sit in the dressing room catatonic, and they'd go, "Mr. Burns, it's time," and they'd pick him up and they would direct him. And
Yeah.
as soon as that curtain opened, man, he
Wow.
was there.
I opened for a few potheads that did that too.
Oh,
On the floor of the
Lefty
green room.
Diz, the blues musician, used to
Uh-huh.
come in at the late shows in Chicago at midnight. They'd have a blues show.
Uh-huh.
And Lefty's not got the heroin nods. He's at the bar, man. And he had this very large woman that sang lead for him. And she'd go, "Lefty, get your ass up."
He just snapped
And
in there.
that's it.
Yeah.
As soon as his hands hit that guitar, man,
Wow.
bam, he was Lefty Diz.
Uh-huh.
And then he'd go back and,
It is a crazy thing. You think about stand-up comedy is it's such a young thing that kind of the first generation of guys really doing it are just starting to die. Like Cosby's still alive,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, that style where you took.
But yeah, stand up
day-to-day
as we think
things.
about it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's the original guys doing it. A lot of them are still around. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
It's
Carlin
cool.
just passed in the last.
Yeah,
couple of
not
years.
long ago, right?
Yeah.
What blows my mind about it is people will be like, yeah, I've heard that before. And they're like, yeah, but I want to write. Like, you've met the comics that are like, I want to write something that changes people's
Sure,
minds.
sure.
And it's like, okay, well, the Carlin, the Pryors, they were the first people doing it. Like,
Yeah.
they got on that premise first.
Yeah.
Well, when my theory is this, the term edge came from because in society there was a line of mores. And back in the 70s, the comics that came up like Carlin or prior to them would walk up to that line, step over the line, but people knew where the line was.
Yeah.
Then the line got obliterated. There's nothing really.
Yeah.
And then political correctness came in. And I remember when that started creeping in. And it was on a drunk driving routine I used to do. All of a sudden, it just wasn't getting the laughs that it used to get. Socially, people were changing
Yeah.
to that. And that we talked about it. I don't know. My brain is shot. Were we talking about this during the podcast about the woman, where I used to do this generic stuff.
No.
Oh, I used to do this generic stuff. Men do this, women do that.
Yeah.
Everybody did that, when
Yeah.
you're dating, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized that where women would get ticked off at me
You have to
Because-
say female-bodied now.
Well, but it was just
was like, get back in the
generically
kitchen.
talking about the collective
okay.
and making the assumption that all women were like this or all men were like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So I got married and I started talking about woman. So I would make that distinction. I'm talking about woman, one. And if you take that away, I got no career.
Right.
So
right.
at least allow me that. But I remember that pushback. It was in the 90s. And we thought, I remember the conversations we'd have in the dressing rooms. They ain't gonna last.
Uh-huh.
It got to the point where I hope that it got so absurd that it's getting back to where it was, where you can talk about. When you write, do you even think about that, or is your brain just not even thinking in terms of anything that might cause a controversy?
No, the stuff that I am interested in and want to talk about, I guess lucky's the word. I never want to talk about anything that I think will. Like, I've never had a bit where I go, I don't know. I'm worried about that. I mean, my stuff is so stupid that I have a hard time imagining anybody's going to get that upset about. If I'm in a church or something, I think about stuff will just play differently.
Right.
Like, I had a bit about where I kind of obviously jokingly insinuate that, like, I'm cheating on my wife a little bit, or I'll say, like, I'm flirting with a woman, like, just jokingly. And I can do that at a club, but then at a church, you're like, well, this just plays differently in a church. So I think about stuff on that level sometimes, but topics and things, I'm just not. And that might change. I might get to a point where I want to talk about different stuff, but right now it's like, I just want to talk about Walgreens, or whatever else.
Well, that's why if people ask what I do and they don't know what I do, I just say I'm a distraction. I like
That's
to
all
distract
anything
people
is.
for an hour.
That's all anything is.
Yeah.
And that's actually, people want a distraction.
Right. Well, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, in this day and age, and that's Tammy. I was in the 90s, and that's when Dennis Miller was really kicking.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be Dennis Miller, so I started doing social commentary.
Yeah.
And I heard people walking out, leaving, calling me names. I mean, I was not good at it. And Tammy finally sat me down and said, "Nobody cares. Nobody. We're starving. Just stop it." I go, "But I got things to say."
Right. Right.
Yeah. But politics today is it's blood sport. It's absolute blood sport. You gotta have a thick skin to want to foray into that.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, well, back then you had no other real outlet to talk about that kind of stuff, right? Other than your act.
Yeah.
I mean, because you couldn't have a podcast back then or a social media page. It was like you had to do it on stage unless you had a TV show or radio show or something, right?
Right.
So now you can kind of compartmentalize your brain in a way that you couldn't back then, maybe.
But you could be angry and go on stage for 10 minutes and say something to 35 people in the dark and then disappear. But now people don't take 5 minutes to think about what they're doing, and then they're like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah."
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Well, that was sad.
I got an email, a comment from somebody that was pretty disparaging, and I wrote him back. I normally don't comment on these, but yours intrigued me.
Right.
What is your end game? If it was to change my heart and mind, you went about it the wrong way.
Right.
Well, I actually don't have Instagram or Facebook on my phone anymore because of you. And you don't even know this.
No.
But NateLand posted a clip, and I never read comments. NateLand posted a clip, and you said something really funny about some woman. I couldn't even tell you what it is now. And because Brian Bates and I follow each other, I saw his comment.
Okay.
And he was like defending you. And then I caught myself at a red light in traffic, like,
Wait.
First of all, Aaron is a nice man. And then I was like,
well, I appreciate it.
What am I doing?
Oh, it's funny. Tammy gets very maternal with people. With more so with my son. When he was in Iraq, there were so many people against the war.
Yeah.
And they would say these nasty things. I was at a dinner table at a corporate event. Nobody knew who I was. They didn't know I was the entertainment.
Yeah.
I was just eating with them, and they made a comment. You know who's dying in Iraq? All the idiots, the stupid people.
Oh boy.
I threw my fork down and I said, my son is in Iraq, and he's not dying, and he's not stupid.
Yeah.
And I got up, and then when they saw me hit the stage, I said, "Oh man,
hey everybody!"
yeah. But it's amazing to me how cavalier people can be with strangers.
Totally.
And make statements like that. You think, I always kind of look around and read the room. I go, I don't know anybody here, so I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people just let it fly.
Yeah.
I was in a green room in New York City not long ago, and people just stuff they were saying was wild in there.
Yeah.
There is a lack of professionalism. I actually got caught in this just a couple days ago. We're doing a show on the 29th, and I think email is safe any time of day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't realize that some people are checking their email all the time. So I'm like, I'd never text somebody on a weekend or after hours. And I emailed your wife and was like, hey, I need a ticket link. And she was like, it's Father's Day. We're with our family. And my brain was like, don't check your email then. But I realized, like, in this business, I think it's like, if I'm with my son, my email's off.
Mm-hmm.
But there is like this lack of people will just like 2 a.m. Like,
oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten texts. I get up in the morning and I see somebody text me at 3 a.m. and I go, holy cow, go to bed.
Yeah.
And they're good friends of mine. I'm just going, man, what were you doing up at 3? I'm taking another whiz. I couldn't get back to sleep.
There is like no real, like, that is something that really bothers me. Like, you're talking about the green room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we worked in cubicles, dude, like, you would never.
That's true. That's true.
You would never. Like, how many times have you seen comics where they're like totally hammered and they're doing lines of coke and they're like, they just don't book me. I don't get it. And you're like, I can't imagine.
Wow, people still do coke.
People still do it.
People are still doing it.
That's so funny to me. I'm so far removed. I used to say I could find coke in the Vatican if it was there.
Yeah.
And now I'm so out of it. I just really? They were stoned. I can't even tell.
It's not as open as, but like there's zero stigma with marijuana now. It's like it's more common than cigarettes.
Well, I just bought gummies because we sleep with them.
Mm-hmm.
And don't email me. I cut them in half.
We should
So I'm transporting. I felt like a drug dealer. I'm coming through Nashville airport with like 3 boxes of gummies. I'm thinking, what the dog will sniff them. And Tammy goes, will you relax? My wife is one of these people who rules me nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. She'll cut lines. I mean, she just doesn't. Oh, shut up. Get over here. I'm going, there's a sign.
Right.
Because I always got caught. It's like God took me from the beginning of my childhood and said, you're not going to get away with nothing.
Right.
You're going to get away with anything.
Yeah.
So I'm like paranoid. So I'm going through the airport out of New York and I'm thinking, they're going to call me down. I know.
They don't care.
No, they
don't care at all.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry about your Father's Day.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah.
So you mentioned it. I mean, you probably didn't even know about it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. It is. The lack of professionalism in this career is brutal. But I don't know if Jeff knows this, and I can't not bring it up. And I know I've brought it up to you too many times. But you're one of the only people I know that loves mer people as much as we do.
Oh yeah. The Mer People documentary. Yeah.
What's mer people?
You gotta watch it. I'll let him explain it.
There are all these worlds that we know nothing about. These like communities that thankfully they're starting to do documentaries about. And there's a community of adults that are mermaids that will they dress up as mermaids and they swim in pools. They have tails and they get dressed up and they do it. Yeah, now a lot of them work. I mean, they work professionally. They get hired for a lot of it's like kids parties, but I don't know, like casinos or anywhere with like big fish tanks.
I have seen.
They want a live mermaid in there, but they have communities and conventions and
they have a lingo. They say shallow.
Yeah.
Shallow.
Yeah, a lot of nautical puns.
Nautical puns.
Yeah.
Big market for that. Yeah.
So Carolyn and I, there's a documentary on Netflix.
Do you have an example of a nautical pun?
Well, Shallow is a great one.
It's a great one. What is his? Oh shoot! Is it Mermaid Tricks? His song. He has a rap song out.
Oh yeah, I hated that guy.
He was brutal.
That guy bothered me. I like Sparkles.
Sparkles was we connected over Sparkles, and so Sparkles has my favorite scene I've ever seen on television ever, and you did a perfect job comparing it to open mic and comedy.
Well, that's when I started to relate to these people on because there's so many parallels between what they're doing and comedy, where these mer people are like, my parents don't get it, but
That's true.
I feel like I'm called to do it or whatever. And then there's a scene where Sparkles goes and does like a children's birthday party, and I don't know, her tail breaks, and she's like, I'm only making $30 doing this, and I'm like, well, this is a comic.
That's a comic.
This is just a hell gig, It's the exact same thing.
But then it's the same thing because when she's in the pool with the kids, and the kids are like, it's a mermaid.
Right.
It's like, that's the dopamine hit.
Right,
And then
sure.
she'll be at another
I
birthday
could see
party.
that. Yeah.
But it's one of my favorite scenes ever. Sparkles is she looks like a very nice waitress. She's a waitress. She's got long hair, thin arms. She's very, very thin. And she's like slinging tables, and she gets in her like beat up Toyota Celica or something from like the 90s. It's just total crap car. It's faded.
I had one of those.
It like doesn't want to start.
Yeah.
And she's in there and she's got her big mermaid wig on and her tail's in the back. And she's just like, nobody understands how hard it is to be a mermaid in Arkansas.
In Arkansas. Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And then there's like the
Wow.
healing pools of Wikiwachi. Where
Right, yeah.
Where the oldest mermaids, and you had to be like an Olympic diver to be like these Wikiwachi mermaids.
Yeah,
They had to go down hundreds of feet in this tube, and they would have to hit air supplies underneath there. Hopefully they were working, and come out this tube that they said was like 1,500 feet
Yeah.
or something crazy.
Wow.
And they were like these mermaids in the 70s. And
Yeah. And then there's all the parallels of, people say it's a dying art form, but we think it's beautiful and all. I'm
And
like,
where's
well,
this
these are
on?
comics. It's on
Netflix.
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 Yeah.
Boy, they've picked up everything.
Yeah, they go.
oh my gosh, I go down cult documentary. Do you do that too? Do
Oh,
you
of
hit
course.
all of them?
Of course. Yeah.
What are some of your
What is the
other-
one I just finished one with well, I was driving, not a documentary, but I was just in New York City and I drove through Williamsburg and I saw all the Hasidic Jewish people walking around. There's a great show on Netflix called Unorthodox about a girl escaping a Hasidic Jew community.
Really?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I saw them walk around in real life. I was like, I got to go watch that show again. So I watched it on the plane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
not quite a documentary.
Yeah, I used to
but-
say,
yeah.
my wife and I have talked about it because she showed dogs for years. There's dog shows every weekend
Yeah.
in America,
Wow.
every weekend, all over this community of people. And she would say, my husband's a stand-up comic. And they would look at her and go, do you make any money at that? And when I tell people my wife shows dogs, they go, "Did they pay for that?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she did
Exactly.
it professionally. But we used to talk about there's all this underground life in America.
Right.
All these things going on, these pockets of community, like you said, communities.
Yeah.
And MERS is the first time I've heard of mermaids,
Yeah.
which solidifies in my head that you can be anything you want in America.
That's right. Yeah. You
this
can
is-
find, especially with the internet, you can find like-minded people
Right.
and you can get
Start a
together.
cult,
And,
and
yeah.
then
Whatever
Netflix
you
will
want to
make a
do.
documentary out of
Whatever
it.
you want to do. It's pretty amazing how diverse America is. Like Amish people are in America.
Yeah.
The same country as us. Could not live a more different life.
Just yesterday,
And here
I
we
was
are
in
in the same
Ethridge,
state.
Yeah.
and it was like full-blown Amish neighborhood.
Mhm.
Like not like Lawrenceburg where it's kind of like, okay, they have their own lane.
Right.
But it was like full-blown like neighborhood. And
Yeah.
then there's no advertising, there's no Facebook ads, there's no Amish Craigslist.
Uh-huh.
So they just had like signs out. Like if you need wheels this way, if you need
Yeah.
shutters this way.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is wild. And then I was like, I kind of think they have the right idea. Like to
On
be-
some level.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have said
Yeah.
that more than once, that they got some things right.
Yeah, to
you
be
know,
just disconnected.
But
like
it's
that.
interesting. I saw a sermon from a pastor in Texas that talked about one of his congregants had come out of the Amish community and said, you think materialism doesn't matter. But when it comes to the buggy, mahogany, or they go,
really?
they go to the junkyards and they get the Corinthian leather off of Chrysler and put it on their seat.
Wow.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
still it's so ingrained in human nature that got
Mhm.
to be materialistic. So even at that level, I was doing a corporate at Amish. They had the buggies and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm setting up my merch table with DVDs. Guy walks in, he goes, "Won't be selling a lot of them."
Yeah, you have to tell them it's a coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. I might have sold one.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. Yeah, there's I feel like there's times like the documentary thing. There's times in your career as like a comic or like me, like an internet or whatever, and some people it's like I've heard a lot of comics like it's the Opry, and they're like, I did the Opry, or I want to do a show at the Ryman, or I want to be on SNL and do a monologue. They have those things.
Yeah.
But the day Sparkles followed me on Instagram, that was the day I was like, I'm done here.
I'm retiring.
And then Tiger King followed me.
Oh, wow.
And once that happened,
it's big time.
I was like, you know what?
Wow.
I just take me now. Lord, take me home.
Yeah.
I was like, but I feel like with mer people, and Brent says this, and I think he's right, we are all like in the documentary world, the fan world, chasing the high of Tiger King.
Yeah.
The chaos. And mer people came
at the right time. But it's an interesting question. I'll ask you, Jeff, is like, are there, because I always think about like if my career that gets to a point where I can proactively book myself around sporting events that I want to go to. That will be a level, like if I, maybe I'll book something in Chicago the weekend of a Notre Dame game so I can go out there. Like you're at a point, you can play golf whenever you want. Would you agree? Like you can play golf whenever you want?
Nah, the way it's set up now, no.
Oh, yeah.
When you fly in, you get in at like 11 in the morning.
Right.
Golf takes 5 hours. So by the time, I got to get a nap.
Oh, sure.
I know this. And, but my thing is routing.
Okay.
I would love to be in a position. I'm getting close at this point where I can route myself in regions. I mean, there was a period where I'd be on the West Coast, and then the next night I'd be on the Southeast, and then I'd be somewhere in the Midwest. I mean, and that's why I started working out. I realized at about the age of 60 that if I didn't work out, the road would kill me. I had buried a couple friends, and that's the blessing and the curse of getting older is that you lose friends along the way. And a lot of comics that I started with have passed away, and a lot of them just didn't take care of themselves.
Yeah,
that road is just it's a hard thing. After COVID, I don't know how long you were off. I was off 5 months, and I did a show in Texas. A couple of them that came home and told Tam, if I had the money, I'd retire. It's going to the airport, going through all of that. Now I look at Nate. When I did Gaither and I got on his plane once, I came home and told Tammy, I never thought I'd utter these words. I want my own plane. Now, I know I'll never get there, but I look at that where you can just fly private. That's a game changer.
Well, you almost have to. Yeah, it's like it's pretty sweet. I've got a weekend coming up where I fly into Buffalo, New York, and then I'm in Albany the next night, and then Syracuse the next night, and then I have to fly back out of Buffalo. So it's just like, it's the worst routing imaginable, but that's just what I have to do. But I'd love to get to a point where get to a level where.
Well, you tell your manager, I want to work here in the winter. I want to work up north in the summer.
Yeah, But I'm still at the mercy of when these places will take me.
Well,
I'm at whatever the worst time of year to be somewhere is. That's where I'm in Phoenix in July. I'm in Buffalo, New York in December or whatever.
Right.
So and it's just fun. Those are the kind of fun goals that you're like, well, if I keep working hard and get better at this, I will be able to not have to deal with that.
Right.
So and then I'll move on to the next little annoyance that I'm trying to get rid of in my life.
Now, have you found, because I have found, and at this late stage in my life, I was never prone to envy. I was very blessed in that. Of all my sins in life, envy wasn't one of them. And I have found in the last couple of years envy creeping in. I just want bigger numbers.
Yeah,
you know? And I'm fortunate I have people in my life to slap me around and tell me the truth. You know, you have any idea at your age how lucky you are to be where you're at. You know, but do you find that you start looking outside of yourself and going, because I had known comics coming up that destroyed them. It destroyed them. They were so focused on what other people were doing
instead of
and the numbers they were getting.
Yeah.
And why? You know, and I go, why do you care? You know, there's 330 million people in this country. Call your own in. You know.
Yeah. Of course. I think competition, like if it's personal and quiet, can actually be good. And I have a number of people that I'm privately very competitive with, and I keep an eye on what they're doing.
Give us the names.
I've had a couple people that I used to feel that way about, and now I feel like I've eclipsed them, and I don't worry about them anymore. And then I moved on to my new crop of people that I watch, and you know, even people that I would consider good friends of mine, and I'm genuinely happy for them. But I still, in my head, I go.
That's the sane part. I mean, you go, my gosh, I'm so glad for you. But but then, you know, I want mine too.
Because the reality is, a lot of these people at my level, they get things. They're not taking anything from me. You know.
Well, nobody takes anything from anybody. I mean,
exactly.
The pie is huge.
That's what I'm saying. I go like, this is not a zero-sum game.
I will say this. I did mention to Nate at some point, you're no longer a comic, you're a cult. And, you know, I mean, selling 42,000 tickets.
So Nate's not even competing with comics anymore.
I know.
He was like, well, who had the attendance record here last time? Elton John? You know, that's who he's competing with.
Right.
I'm competing with, you know, open micers.
Yeah, but there's only so many tickets to a clean comedy show.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But it is that iron sharpens iron thing. Like keeping yourself surrounded with comics that don't want to, because I find comics get to like, you're like where you are, and then they just skate and they're just like, oh, I just want to be here, and then not go to the next. Like I've seen it where they get like a don't tell and they get like whatever, and it's like, well, I can get booked to headline this weekend, I'm good.
Yeah. I remember years ago there were comedians in Nashville that I would maybe not feel like going to the open mic that night, that I would think, well, they're gonna go and they're working on a joke, and I would go just for that reason. So that would keep me. You gotta have. That's the real value of a scene, in my opinion. It's other than just, you know, it's a way to get stage time.
That's why I started going down Monday nights.
It's being surrounded by other comics who are doing stuff, and that keeps you, you know, engaged, and it's fun to have guys around there. Oh, that guy, you know, that guy's a Netflix special. That guy, you know, that guy's doing whatever, and it keeps everybody, you know.
I agree.
Going.
Again, Tammy and I were talking. And you know, one of the largest comedy festivals in the world is in Nashville. And I've never been asked and never been invited. And Tammy goes, why would they? You're never around. I mean, it's like, you know, I do one weekend, you know, you're at Zany's or, you know, whatever. So I started going down on Mondays just to hang out. And what I've realized is I really dig it. I dig being around young guys that are hungry and then listening to the conversations and stuff. It brought me back to years ago when I was a part of the Chicago comedy scene. And there's still deep things inside of me that are edifying from that. You're right. The competition is great. And working, you know, going out afterwards and sitting down and having a meal and talking about a joke you're working on.
Yeah.
You know, I was golfing with Chris recently, and I gave him a premise I was working on. He gives me like 3. I go, man, that's great. You know, I like that. You know.
Oh, the flip side of that is it's cool for the younger guys to have, you know, veterans around that have been doing it too. Like it's great for
I love it when
everybody.
they introduced me as a comedy legend. I said this to the audience. I go, it's a polite way of saying this next guy is really, really stinking old. You know?
But that's the good stuff, man. I remember the best open mic in Nashville. It's called the East Room. It's at they do it every Tuesday night.
I heard it was a nightmare. What?
It's a nightmare.
No, it's been it's like it's been around long enough that there's been ups and downs, and I'm telling you that pound for pound, there was a time where that was it was a great show. You'd feel pressure to. It would be packed, and you know, you'd be like, oh, I have to do well on this.
When I lived in Boston, That's what it was. It was a 15-minute showcase, 4 guys that were all world class. And you'd be in the dressing room just cutting up laughing, and then you'd hear the laughs.
Yeah, and you'd be like,
And
oh,
they'd go,
no.
who's next?
Yeah, exactly.
And you'd get your notebook out. You'd go, I got to be tight.
Right.
They give you like 2 minutes.
Yes.
That audience gave you 2 minutes. That's it.
Well, this was, especially as a young comic, for me, this was like, it was a big deal, that Tuesday mic. And I remember the way they used to do it was the show's at 8:30, but you sign up at 8, and you sign up in the order that you got there. So we would get there. I mean, I'd head over right after work. I'd get there at 5:30, 3 hours before, just to get a good spot on that list. And people would get there early. But those hangs in the alleyway outside of the open mic, that was like the most fun times of my comedy career. A lot of the guys that I started with, and we'd be there just cutting up and making fun of each other. And
how many of them have gone on? I mean, they're still working.
A good crop of them are still at it and still good buddies of mine. You know, a lot of them moved or fizzled out or just stopped doing it. But those were great times. It was that the community around it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sacramento was like that. It was beautiful. In fact, one of my favorite hangs, you guys were on Don't Tell together, Kyrie Shabazz.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he took me under his wing and was like, cut the fat. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, that's
better
great.
Than this. Yeah.
That's great.
And then another girl from there, she just popped off on Don't Tell. God, she was started when I started, Ruby Setnick.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's just wild to see that. Yeah. And it's all from those alleys. But the East Room, when I got to the East Room was a nightmare.
Well, it's like, even, you know.
But it is waves of who's there. Who's interested.
And like the energy in a scene fluctuates over time, and things change. But I'm telling you, that was a great open mic.
How long ago was that?
I mean, I started there 10 years ago.
So you're 23.
Yeah, I was 23, 24. Yeah.
I also
fresh
think
out of college, kind of. Yeah.
First time you're around other comics, finally you're not the oddball. It's like, oh, I'm with like, wait, what's riffing? Because I can say something funny and you can say something funny.
You know, it's funny. Comedy, you'll meet adults that you'd never. I remember only adults I'd met were like my parents and like my parents' friends, or like my teachers, like real adults. And then I remember I went to Spanky's open mic in Nashville, and there was an adult, a guy probably in his 40s, and he's hosting the show, and he had socks and sandals on, he had cargo shorts, and he had a t-shirt on that said, "Virgins, thanks for nothing." And I've never seen an adult like this. And I'm like, what is this guy? Turns out he's my peer. You know? So yeah, it really dropped me I guess I was sheltered in a way that I didn't even really realize, that comedy just dropped. You know, you're just hanging out with lunatics on a nightly basis, and it's great.
Well, I got lucky when I told my father I was quitting my job to go comedy. He said, do it.
Yeah.
I got really lucky.
Wow.
I ran into so many guys
That's
over
so
the years.
rare. Yeah.
It is. That their parents were like, holy cow, I paid for your college and this is what you're going to do. Yeah.
Brent tells this really funny story because he was so sheltered, Baptist sheltered, went to Liberty, graduated with a theology degree. First open mic, he starts hanging around the open mic scene, and he's like, there were drag queens. I didn't know what it, and he was like, what is
Yeah,
happening?
you're gonna see some wild stuff out there.
Wild stuff in comedy.
And and kind of have your ideas
challenged,
confronted and challenged on a nightly basis, and your sensibilities about everything and your view on the world challenged by smart, interesting people every night. It's like like a playground of ideas, and it's great.
It's a good way to look at it. Yeah. That's one of the reasons, again, why I almost went down last Monday. I wasn't on the schedule, but I almost popped in just to be around it.
Yeah, just come hang with it.
I didn't realize how much I missed it till I got into it, and it's just really kind of cool.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's become Zanies has become a destination spot for comics traveling through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that new material Monday. You know, I love it because I've never in my entire career felt comfortable reading off a notebook. And now I do. I sit on a stool and I read this stuff, and man, it's so much easier that way.
Yeah. Guys, you know what this is. I'm working on stuff up here.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm so happy to be out of it. That's I was not ever made for what you guys do. Yeah, is there anything that you have coming up? Anything? Because you're on one of the biggest podcasts on the world, so we would rather you plug your stuff here.
Okay.
So people hear it, you know.
I've got next couple months. I'm kind of taking off, which I've got a few things here and there, but I'm pretty excited. I'm going to be not doing a whole lot next couple months, and then the second half of the year, I'm pretty busy. I'm hitting the road every weekend.
Are you headlining yourself, or are you going to be hitting the road with Nate?
I'm only doing a couple things with Nate. It's mostly my own headlining stuff.
Because
you can get Reno what?
Reno working with Larry, he is like the same. Like he talks about how he travels with Larry in a private jet, and then he like argues to get upgraded to like.
Right, and then then the next week you're middle seat, Southwest in the back. Yeah, you know what it is? I remember my dad told me a story that when he went to Notre Dame, he would go to church every Sunday at the Basilica on campus, which is like this unbelievable looking church. It's like awe-inspiring, right? And then he would come home to Mobile, Alabama, to visit his parents, and he'd go to their little rinky-dink, rundown, neighborhood parish. And he would say, "Man, I miss the real church." And my grandfather told him, "Oh, this is the real church. You've been at Catholic Disney World." And I think about that in comedy,
Right.
Where if you do a weekend with Nate and you're doing 20,000 seat arenas, and then next thing I know, I'm talking to 30 people in Appleton, Wisconsin. That's real comedy.
Right.
Yeah, Nate's doing comedy Disneyland. So it's honestly, it's fun to have that perspective, to the whiplash from doing something literally as big as it's ever been, and then I'm out there grinding. People don't care that I'm up there on their phone, whatever. The whiplash of that is fun.
Yeah.
It's also humbling.
But it's why you're
100%.
Yeah.
It's why so many comedians, it's rare to meet a comedian who's been doing it a long time, who's not a kind of grounded, humble guy. They're out there, but a lot of them have been through the ringer for decades. So it's hard to get a big head.
Yeah, I almost quit more than once. Just got tired of where I was, my station, and realized at one point I was babysitting drunks. That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
Until you can bring your. That's why I got out of clubs for like 15 years. I didn't do a club.
Wow.
And I just was doing outreach at churches. And corporate stuff, but.
It is an insane ask when you think about it. I was thinking it's the only place in American society where we want people to drink, but then we go, don't talk. Literally the only place in American society that's like that.
Right.
And I don't think is there a 2-item minimum at like Hamilton? Like on Broadway, do they have 2-item minimums? Are they encouraged? Does the business rely on people buying alcohol?
Have you ever had Hamilton's chicken tendies?
What is Hamilton? What is that?
No, I'm just kidding. Like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Because that's like that's the thing. It's like drink everything, and then here's some chicken tenders.
And they go, man, shut up and listen to a guy talk.
I took my son out with me. He was 5, 6, 7, because I was dad of the year. I was taking him to nightclub. He became a self-professed chicken tender expert.
Oh, I bet.
He would literally, he took it so seriously. 7, 8 years old, he'd go, the crust is, it's okay, but I've had better, but it's nice and juicy inside. It's not dry. He's like 8 years old. He's
the great sauce options there.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so different in every environment too. Like when there was probably like 6 months where I went out with Etta May every weekend, and like just I like that just small theater, like everyone's seated, it's down, whatever, and just
no table service, and
But then my favorite, because I grew up in a bar, like my favorite is, I remember the most fun doing stand-up was, what is that crazy like metalhead bar that's across from the East Room? and sometimes they have shows that,
Cobra.
yeah. And nobody was paying attention to anyone. And
Yeah.
it was chaos. And I got up there, I'm not going to say what I said, but I dropped the F-bomb and I was like, bleeping Slayer. And they all like stopped and then they were like, "Rrrp," and then I had the most fun 10 minutes.
Oh, that's great.
Because I was like, these are my people. Like,
right.
and it was just, I love that small room. Nobody's paying attention. Complete chaos. Anything can happen.
Wow.
But then when it got to a point where it was like, no, you sold tickets. People are here to see you. That pressure was like, I want to die.
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny. Yeah, I don't do that. I want to talk. I don't want to hear you talk. Somebody asked me, how come you don't talk to the crowd? I go, well, I almost got beat up twice.
That'll do it.
That sobered me up really quick. Apparently people don't appreciate my humor when it's directed directly at them.
Yeah, sure.
So, but no, I love the theater. I really do. That was my dream, was to do that. And it was so funny to me because I used to do videos for my socials, me and my entourage. It was just me. I said I had these dreams of having 20 people in my dressing room, all doing cocaine. And now I sit there with my little fruit basket, like 6 grapes. They put up, to honor the writer. I got 6 grapes, a banana, and it's just me and my fruit bait. That's it.
Yeah.
Do my hour and a half, and then I go back to my room. It's not the way I envisioned it when I was younger.
Right.
But I really, it's humbling in the sense of looking on the wall and seeing everybody that's performed on those stages. And stuff. The first time I did the Ryman, I told my wife when I got done, we had just moved here and just really were getting our life back together. And I get off that stage. I did something with Gary Chapman there on a Sunday, and Tammy was crying. She said, I never thought I'd see you on a stage like this. And I said, me, Elvis, did this thing.
That's crazy.
Isn't that the coolest thing?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The first road gig I ever did, South Street Comedy Club in Jackson, Tennessee. I remember I walked in, and on the wall, I saw Ellen and Dave Chappelle and Richard Pryor, and I was like, these guys performed here? And then I asked the server, and the server goes, oh, no, none of that.
The cool thing about the comedy club, though, is that they could have.
Exactly.
There's a history in all of them.
Yeah. But it was just so funny. I was like, Ellen performed at South Street Comedy?
Zany's has an 8x10 of me up that I wish they would tear down, because every now and then some kind
an old picture?
Oh, my God, from like the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had my tie off like this, and I'm like, and every now and then I'll have a friend that works there. It'll take a picture.
The old headshot. Yeah. Oh, it's great though. I you know what I've started doing is I've realized a priority for me is whether it's bringing guys on the road with me or just like I want people around that are excited about stuff because it keeps me excited.
Yeah.
And you can get jaded pretty quickly, I've learned, at least for me. I had a guy open for me recently, and it was his first time working the club. And he was like blown away that we had a private fridge in the green room. He was like, they have like Red Bulls in here, and but
stuff in his
But then I was like, well, this is crazy. This is cool that we have our own room. So having guys like that around keeps me excited about it, and I recognize like, this is a made up job, and it's crazy that we get to do it. So it's awesome.
Remember the first time they paid for your hotel and paid you? I was like, wait, you're going to pay for me to sleep?
Yeah.
And you're going to pay me to walk out here and be stupid?
Yeah.
Like, no way.
First time I got paid, Dino's. I did a show at Dino's. Chad Ryden gave me $7. It was, that's,
Wow, I made 10 on my first show.
Yeah.
Arsenio Hall booked me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
First show?
First show, Cobart's Comedy Cove. It was behind the bar, so they're making drinks in front of you.
And you're behind the...
And Cookie the Clown from Bozo used to get drunk every Friday night at Cobart's.
In costume?
No, he'd come in. Everybody knew who he was.
Yeah.
Everybody did a Bozo routine.
Yeah.
And my favorite, again, you're talking about comedy routines you remember, John Tamburino had a bit about Mr. Ned. You know, he was cool till you got to bucket number 5. Then he'd start going bedwetter. You know, he didn't want you to get to 6 because they have to give up $20. You know? But Cookie would tell everybody, man, because he's sober when he gets in. He goes, "Don't tell anybody who I am. I don't want to be bothered." And within 6 cocktails, he's doing the Cookie voice.
Right.
You know? And everybody knew Cookie was there. So eventually, whoever was on stage would go, "Ladies and gentlemen, Cookie the Clown." He goes, "I told you not to." You know?
We were laughing about this the other day because Reno was saying that no matter how big Larry, the cable guy, is, like, he still nerds out about meeting people that are super, like, not goofy, but just like, that's the person you're stoked. Like, he meant the bassist from Styx or something. And I was like,
that's a fun one.
That's the bassist from Styx.
Yeah.
Who's somebody you've met in this career that, like, 10-year-old you is like, dude, what?
Well, I got to hang out with Brian Regan one night. That was kind of a cool,
like, you did his act for him?
I tried really hard not to. Yeah, I didn't. You never want to be like, "Dude, you're the," you know, you drink a little bit. "Dude, you're the man. I love you." You know, we're gonna have that kind of embarrassing moment with him. But
I'll tell you, I was in New York when he auditioned for Letterman the first time.
Oh yeah,
and he killed.
Yeah.
Catch a Rising Star. And I saw him like a week later. I go, "When you doing the show?" He goes, "They passed." And I went, and I got to move. I can't better that.
Right.
I mean, there's no way in heck I could do better than that. And then like 2 weeks later, I saw him actually on the show.
Okay.
But I was, it was, he was so hot. I mean, the laughs when he connected were different than any other comic at that time.
Yeah.
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 And my son ripped him off. I come in the room and he's listening to the Regan CD, and I go, "Where'd you buy that?" He goes, "I didn't buy it. I just took it off of Napster." Remember Napster? And I go, "You can't do that."
I was a LimeWire guy.
So I tell him, "You can't do that." And I said, "It's public domain." He goes, "What's that?" I go, "It'll say right on there. You can download any of that stuff you want, but you got to pay for things." So anyway, like a week later, I go, "I was always listening to pirate shanties." You know, what do you do when a drunken say? I go, "There you go. That's legal. Nobody's losing money on
That's
that."
Right. Yeah, but it's
And Nate, by the way, you're working with the hottest comic in the world. So I mean, it's hard to believe that you sit across every day. And
it is crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Yeah, like
Nate is so accessible anyway. I mean, he's really a nice
he
guy.
is to the point where I almost forget about all those things.
Yeah.
You know, forget that he's as big as he is, which is a testament to him. That, you know, he's humble
Well, he
enough.
doesn't have 17 guys walking with him.
Yeah.
You go to LA, some guy gets a bit part in a movie. The next thing he's got an Escalade. He's got six guys opening the door for him.
Yeah.
So I was sitting outside a Laugh Factory and I see this guy pull up and I go, "Holy cow, who's that?" And I go, "Oh, he had a bit part in some Spielberg thing, you know." And he took the check, bought the Escalade. And he's got the hanger-ons. And I go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, now supporting 20 people. Yeah. Yeah, it's comedy you can work with it's like, you know, if you pick up a guitar, you're not going to be opening for the Rolling Stones in 2 months. But comedy, you might get to host for, you know, a legend within your first year of doing comedy. So it's pretty cool. You get to meet a lot of fun people. And I've been in the right place in the right time a lot. So I don't take any of it for granted.
Nor should you.
Yeah.
You know, it's a blessing to be. You know, I remember. I don't know if you had a goal financially. I quit a job making $300 a week. So my goal was if I could tell jokes and make $300 a week.
Yeah. Right.
Then it went to 5. Then it went to 7.
Yeah. You start raising the goal. Yeah. Sure.
And then there was a point where I realized money's not going to make me happy.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I just bought more Coke.
Price of Coke kept going up. Yeah,
it kept going up. So.
Yeah, I wanted to quit my job and just only do comedy, and then I got that. So everything else is just gravy.
Yeah.
You know?
And the fam, you know.
That's true. Well, now with the baby, things,
that puts things in perspective as well.
Yeah.
You know, you've got other mouths, you know.
Right.
I've often said, you know, when I do men's groups talks, I just say, look, you were wired by God to provide and protect. When you're doing that, then you're connected to what manhood should be.
Right.
It's the way I feel anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and at the lowest points of my life are when I felt like I couldn't provide.
Yeah.
You know, the business wasn't.
Ron?
No, this is a different one.
Buddy
I
Ron
get calls throughout these podcasts. And usually it's Ron Pearson.
Oh, yeah.
I go, you know, but you know, I told you Tuesdays.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Nobody. And Tammy doesn't. Tammy will call me when I'm on stage.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. And
You ever
sometimes-
answer it on
Oh,
stage?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
The audience will go, answer it. So, you know, hey
Yeah.
Tam, and the audience, she goes, oh, I'm sorry. I go, what did you think I was doing? I got on the plane. I flew to another town. You know, it's 7 o'clock.
Right,
You
right.
know?
Yeah, I've been doing this a while.
What do you think I was in the hotel room eating pizza? You know, so yeah, very funny.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm so glad I got to spend time with you and get to know you more. And I'm so glad that this was great.
Yeah, I'm glad this worked out. Thanks for, I know we had to move it around a couple times, but I appreciate it.
No, man, and you're one of my favorite people to watch.
Thanks, man.
And I just wish you the best. And if you haven't seen Aaron Weber's work, where can they get it? It's all over YouTube.
I had a special come out on YouTube this year. It's called Signature Dish. It's 30-minute special, so you can check that out. It's a good little,
and
put it on while you do the dishes or
go to
something.
your socials. And,
Yeah, at Real Aaron Weber. Everything's on there, and come see me if I'm in your city.
In your neighborhood, man.
Yeah.